Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sports Arena. Your man, Eric Wilson. Tonight's show, I have a lot to talk about, but before I get to that, I want to take a moment and just speak about some of the things that are going on in this world. First off, to the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Minnesota Twins, and the Minnesota Wild, I appreciate what you did by postponing your games tonight for the safety of the fans. And I hope that what happened in 2020 does not spark up again in 2021. Secondly, even though I am not to blame, I feel it is my due diligence to apologize to Second Lieutenant Karan Nazario for what happened to you in Virginia. You, sir, are a soldier serving this great country. What was said to you and what was done to you needs to be addressed, needs to be talked about, and we have seen the beginning stages of rectifying that situation. There's more that I'm going to talk about that later, but I've got a jam-packed show, so let me get right to it. My first guest this evening, as the draft is coming up, I feel like I haven't talked enough about my Philadelphia Eagles. So I had the pleasure of meeting this gentleman during Super Bowl Media Week at the press conference with Roger Goodell and DeMaurice Smith, and he's kind enough to join me here tonight. He is, in fact, a beat writer for the Philadelphia Phillies and my beloved Philadelphia Eagles. He is the host of the Athletic Press. Please help me welcome Mr. Rob Maaddi to the show. Rob, good evening, sir. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Sports Arena.
Hey, what's up, my man? How you doing, Eric?
I wish it was under better circumstances, my friend, but you know what? I'm here, and like you, I got a job to do, so I'm just going to go ahead and get it done.
I hear you, man. There's a lot going on in the world, and I wish we can reach a point at some time. I don't know if it's going to be in my lifetime, my kids' lifetime, their kids' lifetime, where we all can just love each other, just love on one another. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. So, man, I appreciate you jumping on here with me tonight because, you know, I got some friends who are, unfortunately, I claim them as Dallas Cowboy fans. I do. But listen, we've got the draft coming up in basically 2.5 weeks. And I just got a couple questions. And as someone who is in there and who writes for them, you got to give me the scoop. So my first question to you, sir, is very simply, what in God's green earth is going on with Zach Ertz and why have we not re-signed him? I understand that he has been given the opportunity to seek quote unquote greener pastures, which Zach, if you're watching and listening, there isn't none. Stay in Philly. But that being said, what's going on there? Why have we not kept this viable weapon a part of our team?
Well, that's a great question, man. And Zach Ertz and the Eagles his agents worked on a contract negotiation, not this past season, but the year prior. And the Eagles made an offer that wasn't what the agents thought was good enough. The guaranteed money in there, because it's always about guarantees, Eric. It's not about the length of the kid. Now they're adding voidable years after void. So you can give somebody like a 10-year, $900 million contract, and 8 of them are voidable years, right? So none of that matter. But the guarantees were not acceptable for them. And after that, things started to kind of, they stopped negotiating. There's been reports of a blow up between Zach and general manager Howie Roseman early last year. Neither guy really tried to, they didn't deny it. They just said that, we've moved on. We're not talking about it. And then it became quite apparent that the Eagles and Zach Ertz are going to part ways. At Zach's end of the season news conference, the day after the season ended, I believe I asked him the last question in a Zoom call, and he teared up, man. He teared up because he knew that this is it. He's not coming back. And it's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's when it's going to happen. And I thought perhaps it could have happened early in free agency. There's been some bitterness that I know of from the Ertz side because the Eagles haven't acted on this quickly enough, because they haven't given him more of an opportunity to catch on with a team, like just outright release him and let him sign with somebody. Instead, they're trying to get some compensation for him, which is understandable. He's a great player, right? But they're not getting the offer that they want. So the way it was relayed to me is this has become more of sort of a grudge rather than a business decision. Great. And rather than just allow Zach to find a new home, they're going to hold on. I think something will happen right in and around the draft. Maybe they package Zach with, I don't know, a 7th-round pick to move up to the 6th. Like something silly where we look at it and go, that's all you got for Zach Ertz?
I said at the end of last season, and let me tell you, it was a hard pill for me to swallow, to have to apologize to Giants fans and Washington football team fans, because we just basically, that last game was like, okay, well, you know what? We're not going to allow the Giants to get a better draft pick. We're going to move up 3 spots and be that what it may. But then turn around, we've gone back down to 12. So now I want to look at things and say, well, why didn't we just, win the damn game and maybe have at least a wild card chance in snowball's hell? But anyhow, when we look at the draft, in your opinion, okay, because I personally think you're a better general manager than Howie Roseman. I don't care if you have experience or don't. What should the Eagles do with the 12th pick in the first round?
You're going to hate this, Eric, but I look at a team like this, as bad as they are, as many flaws that they have. I don't know that a player at 12 is a guarantee for them, given their track record and their draft history. I had no issue with them trading down from 6 to 12 and accumulating draft capital, putting them in a position with an extra first-round pick next year, now potentially 3, to do something big, a big blockbuster move if they feel like they need to go in that direction. But I could see them trading down again from 12 into the teens, because this team values, when they've drafted in the top half of the draft, right, top 16 picks, since 1988, that was the last time they took a player. That was Keith Jackson in 88, I believe 11 or 13. I forget which number, but it was top half of the draft. Every time they've been anywhere from 1 to 16, it's been quarterback, O-line, or D-line. 13 times. The two guys who were quarterbacks were McNabb and Wentz. Everyone else was either an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. That includes Fletcher Cox at 12. That's what they value. They don't value a pass catcher. They don't value a playmaker. So I could see them trading into the teens and taking an O-lineman or defensive lineman, staying put and taking somebody that plays in the trenches, or maybe and I like a cornerback. I think this team needs a cornerback. If Patrick Surtain is there, if he falls to 12, I jump on him. J.C. Horn's another possibility. I look at that too as well. But I don't. There's a possibility they could move up. I don't think so, though. When you trade from 6 to 12, I don't see them moving into the top 10 anymore.
Yeah, I don't see it either. But that's why I'm like, listen, you had 6. Now we're going down to 12. And now you're telling me we're going to drop down even further? Oh,
maybe.
Lord heaven.
Howie likes to wheel and deal. You know that. It's the one thing he does extremely well, though, is accumulate draft picks. Now he's got to execute them. That's been the problem.
Okay, fair enough. So, all right. So then that leads me into my next question. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you are truly blessed to be talking right now and listening to Mr. Rob Maaddi, beat writer for the Eagles and the Philadelphia Phillies. He is the host of the Athletic Press Pro Football Podcast. This man has written a book. He's an
Associated
author.
Press, man. Associated
Press. Excuse me.
It's all good. It's been a tough night for all of us, man.
He's an author. Birds of Prey. Definitely, you need to check that out. But let me ask you this. All right. So, what should priority number 1 be to this team? Should it be our offensive line, protecting a young guy in Jalen Hurts? Do we get Jalen Hurts more weapons? Because I don't think we have a wide receiver over 6'2". Or do we finally build up that defense and bring it back to the days of a Hugh Douglas, a Jeremiah Trotter, a Brian Dawkins? I mean, we have some of those pieces, but we need more. If your opinion, what should be our number 1 priority?
I would prioritize the defense. I think the offensive line, if they get these guys back healthy, Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, Andre Dillard, and we also saw some of the youngsters last year, Jordan Mailata and Jack Driscoll play well, I think you got some depth, and I think you can get an offensive lineman somewhere else in the draft. I want to see this team prioritize defense and try and win football games, and nobody does this anymore, man. Run the football, make it easier for Jalen Hurts, make it easier for that offensive line, and have a monster type of defense. So if at 12, somehow, and I don't anticipate him dropping to 12, but if Micah Parsons is there at 12, to me, that guy is a playmaker. He's a monster. He's a beast. He's somebody. They've never really valued that linebacker position. It's entirely completely against their philosophy. But I would jump on a guy like Micah Parsons. And if they don't, and if he's already gone in the top 10, which is probably a likely scenario, he could even go to 7 at Detroit, I've heard. I'd go with that. I'd look at that cornerback, and I'd see if you can get a cornerback in there, because that's especially in the NFC East, you got a lot of tough wide receivers. That should be a position, not just of need, but a high priority.
All right. Last question, and then I'm going to let you get out of here. And I appreciate your time. Rob, you see that the NFL has added a 17th game. So now instead of having 4 preseason and 16 regular season, we've got 3 preseason, 17 regular season. What are your thoughts on that?
Listen, from a selfish standpoint, as a guy who loves football and covers football for a living, it's more football that matters, right? I'd rather cover a meaningful football game than a preseason game. I always hated the preseason games. I always say, can we send our backup writers, because they're playing backup players out there, right? You got the 3rd and 4th string guys out there. Let's send like my backup. But so from a selfish standpoint, I love it. It's more football. It pushes the season further back. That's kind of something that's going to be difficult, because I usually can't wait for the Tuesday after the Super Bowl ends, because it's like my first day off in about 7 months. So now that's going to be closer to Valentine's Day. We're going to have that conflict. That's going to happen a lot. Valentine's Day is going to be Super Bowl Sunday, or it's going to be the 15th, and you're going to be away. And if you got a wife or whatever, significant other, you're going to have some issues with that. You got to figure it out.
But unless he's a football fan, then you're all good.
Not mine.
No, well, I'm thankful mine is, so I'm good on that one.
But it's more football. I love it.
Awesome. Hey, so I've got some friends here in the back who want to ask you a couple questions. Sure. Let me get one of them in really quick here. Now, I will tell you, he is a Cowboys fan, so I apologize in advance.
Hey, it's all good.
But this is my boy, Believe in the Pac-12, Mr. Michael Caratanudo. Mike, what's up, man? How are you?
Eric, thank you. Rob, I mean, come on. He always intros me like that, like people are supposed to throw vegetables and batteries and boo me like Santa Claus or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, no, stop.
Look. Hey, I'm originally from Jersey, so anytime I can tease about booing Santa Claus is a good thing.
What part of Jersey? South Jersey, Central?
No, North Central, North Plainfield.
Okay. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So, but I grew up a Cowboys fan. But anyway, that being said, when you look at the division, though, overall, because I mean, I tease Eric, but we both know, like, both our teams defensively need to get better. But with where Washington is at, are they the wild card, literally the wild card team to you in the division that could literally go from, they won the division last year by default. But this year, I mean, if they get decent quarterback play with that defense, could they, which would disgust me beyond no end, but could they run away with the division?
I don't see anybody in this division running away with it. Like, I think it could come down to the one thing I do believe will be different this year is you'll actually have a winning team win the NFC East, but by winning margin 9-7, 10-6 at most, because I think the Cowboys, Washington, and the Giants are all in that mix. They're all jumbled together, and the division could go either way. And one of them will be at 9 or 10, the other is between 7, 8, 9. The Eagles, to me, are the bottom dwellers. They'll be between 4 and 7. Washington, like you said, they got a tremendous defense. I love the coaching staff. I really like Ron Rivera. Bringing in Fitzmagic is a big move for them, because I think he's steady, he's consistent, he can move the ball. I wouldn't rule out them taking potentially a quarterback in the first round, somebody that they can groom. I like the Giants and your boys. I love their offense with that coming back healthy. If Jerry would just prioritize the defense, if he would sit there, just sit still at 10, Jerry, right? You don't have to move up and take Kyle Pitts. Like, there's been, and I know he loves Kyle Pitts. Like, I was told directly, he loves him a lot. Just sit still, take the best defensive player on the board at 10, and they could be right there in the mix for the division.
And lastly, to poke at Eric, do you think Zach Ertz will look good in the Cowboys uniform?
I think.
All right, that's it.
He would look fantastic. He's going to look good in blue.
No,
whether it's
will
Cowboy
not.
blue, Seahawk blue,
No.
Colts blue.
No. Colts blue, I can accept. All right.
Yeah.
Let me get my man really quick because he's doing double duty. He's actually at the Amway Center covering the Magic and the Spurs. Alex, my boy Alex Fleming, he's definitely got a question for you. Let me get him in here real quick for you. Go ahead,
What's up, my man? How are you, bud?
Hey, I think you're looking at my chart because on my draft list, I got Micah Parsons going to Philadelphia. They need to fix that defense. Absolutely.
Yes.
And I don't have an NFL job for some odd reason, but I just know the game of football. Bro, real talk. After Micah Parsons, they need to fix the offensive line. Philadelphia, they can't run the football. They got midgets at wide receivers. Their corners couldn't cover you or me.
Yeah, and I run a 9.440, so that's not a good thing. I think they
9.4. Did you fall down?
Bro, I'm slow, man. I got ACL, MCL, everything. I'm just slow. I'm with you on Micah Parsons. If he's there, it's against everything that this organization really believes in. But dude's a beast. He's a monster. He's a playmaker. They
down the street, Penn State.
Yep, they got to address the offensive line, but I think they look at the veterans coming back healthy, and the young guys that they had last year are developable, right? And you got Driscoll, you got Mailata, and you got Andre Dillard. I don't know how they're going to fit Dillard and Mailata in there, but that's three guys who could be starters within next year or the year after. So it's not as much of a priority to me, but it really is to them. They love working on that O-line and the D-line.
How is Howie Roseman not fired yet? I mean, because some of his
that's a whole other conversation for another time. You are handling the Magic. I'll catch up with you in a minute, sir. I appreciate it. Rob, thank you so much for joining me, Han. I definitely want to connect with you after the draft and get your thoughts on what happened. Again, this is, and I'm just going to keep it simple. This man is the AP NFL writer for the Eagles. He's the Phillies beat writer. He is the host of the AP Pro Football Podcast. He has his own show, Faith on the Field, which he is the host of, 97.5 The Fanatic, author of Birds of Prey, P-A-P-R-A-Y, and a professional speaker. Rob Maaddi, thank you so much for being on the Sports Arena. Look forward to talking to you, brother.
My pleasure, my man. Thank you. Anytime, brother.
Thank you.